The day I realized being a loser set me free. Last summer, I walked into my 20-year high school reunion wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans while everyone else sported designer suits and luxury watches. The whispers started immediately. There was Jake, the former quarterback, now a hedge fund manager, shaking his head at me. And Sarah, the prom queen turned real estate mogul, actually looked sorry for me. Someone finally asked the question everyone was thinking, so what do you do now? When I explained that I'd left my corporate job to teach philosophy at a community college and write in my spare time, the pity in their eyes was almost comical. Poor guy, their faces said. He used to have such potential. But here's what they didn't see. While they complained about their third divorces, their anxiety medications, and their 80-hour work weeks, I slept like a baby every night. While they scrolled through their phones obsessively, checking stock prices and responding to urgent emails, I'd spent the morning reading Marcus Aurelius in my garden. They saw a loser. I felt completely free. That night sent me deep into the writings of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who understood something profound about human nature. Born a slave who later gained his freedom, Epictetus knew what it meant to have nothing and discovered that true freedom had nothing to do with what others thought of you. He saw that what we call success today, those shiny external achievements like wealth, fame, and social status, are actually chains that bind us to a life of constant anxiety and dissatisfaction. Epictetus called these externals weak and slavish, things completely beyond our control that we foolishly stake our happiness on. He observed that the endless pursuit of achievement and validation prevents us from discovering something far more valuable, an unshakable inner peace that no job loss, market crash, or social media disaster can touch. Think about it. We're so terrified of being seen as losers that we sacrifice our health, relationships, and peace of mind just to impress people we don't even like. We chain ourselves to jobs that drain our souls, buy things we don't need, and craft fake online personas, all because we're desperate for approval. What a tragic way to live. But what if being a loser in society's eyes is actually your secret weapon? What if the willingness to be seen as unsuccessful, unremarkable, or ordinary is the key to genuine freedom? According to Epictetus, we must be willing to let go of what he called lesser things. And if that means becoming a total loser in the eyes of the world, then that's a price worth paying for true peace. This video will show you why being called a loser might be the best thing that ever happens to you. We'll explore how the Stoic path leads to a freedom that no amount of success can buy, and why your secret weapon for an unconquerable life might be hiding in what others see as failure. 1. When everyone thinks you're a failure, and why that's your superpower. Consider this. In Silicon Valley, Amanda Chun was the definition of success. At 32, she'd already sold 2 startups, driven a Tesla, and lived in a $7 million home. But last year, she shocked everyone by walking away from a $100 million acquisition offer to become a high school math teacher in Oakland. Her investor friends staged an intervention. Her parents stopped talking to her. The tech blogs called her the biggest failure in Silicon Valley history. Yet Amanda sleeps better than she has in years. While her former colleagues burn out chasing the next unicorn startup, she's helping kids discover the beauty of mathematics. They call her a failure. She calls it freedom. The word loser is fascinating when you really examine it. According to Merriam-Webster, it means a person who is incompetent or unable to succeed. But here's the thing. Competence and success are completely subjective, constantly shifting with cultural winds. What makes someone successful in Manhattan might make them a failure in Montana. What defines success in 1950 looks like mediocrity today. The target keeps moving, and we exhaust ourselves trying to hit it. In modern America, especially in our major cities, being a loser has become synonymous with lacking specific external markers. No six-figure salary? Loser. No Instagram followers? Loser. Still living in a studio apartment at 35? Total loser. We've created this narrow definition of success that revolves around money, fame, and social proof, then wonder why everyone's so miserable. But Epictetus saw through this illusion over 2,000 years ago. He understood that these external markers of success are what he called not up to us. Your salary can be cut tomorrow. Your followers can abandon you overnight. Your reputation can be destroyed by a single tweet. Building your identity on such shaky foundations is like constructing a house on quicksand. As he wisely noted, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The real superpower comes when you realize that being seen as a failure liberates you from an exhausting game you can never truly win. Think about the mental energy you spend managing other people's perceptions, the hours crafting the perfect LinkedIn profile, the debt you accumulate by buying things to impress strangers, the relationships you sacrifice climbing ladders that lead nowhere meaningful. Every moment spent chasing external validation is a moment stolen from building genuine contentment. When everyone thinks you're a failure, something magical happens. Their opinions stop mattering. You're free from the prison of their expectations. The person who needs nothing from the crowd is more powerful than the person who needs everything from them. Epictetus understood this deeply, teaching that if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." I witnessed this firsthand in Chicago last month. My friend David, a former investment banker, now runs a small bookstore that barely breaks even. His MBA classmates mock him at every opportunity. They share screenshots of his modest lifestyle in their group chats, amazed that someone so smart could fail so spectacularly. But David has something they don't: genuine contentment. While they pop Xanax to handle the pressure of maintaining their success, he spends his days surrounded by books and interesting conversations. The ancient Stoics understood that other people's opinions are just that. Opinions. They're not facts. They're not the truth. They're simply judgments based on arbitrary standards that change with the wind. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. Being called a loser only hurts if you believe that their definition of success is the right one. He emphasized, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those things. This is why being thought of as a failure is actually a superpower. It forces you to develop an internal scorecard rather than an external one. You stop asking, what will they think? And start asking, what do I value? You stop chasing their definition of success and start creating your own. You become psychologically invulnerable to the weapons that wound most people: criticism, mockery, and social rejection. In Los Angeles, there's a growing movement of people embracing this philosophy. They call themselves downshifters, people who've deliberately chosen simpler lives despite having the ability to pursue more. Take Sarah Martinez, a former Hollywood executive who now teaches yoga and grows her own food. Her industry friends think she's lost her mind. But Sarah hasn't checked her email in 6 months and can't remember the last time she felt anxious. She's discovered what Epictetus knew: no one can hurt you without your permission. The truth is, when you're willing to be seen as a loser, you gain access to choices that successful people can't make. You can choose work that matters over work that pays. You can choose time over money. You can choose peace over prestige. You can choose authenticity over appearance. These choices are your superpower, but they're only available to those willing to disappoint the crowd. Consider the practical implications. When you stop caring about looking successful, you can drive an old car without shame, live in a smaller space without apology, wear simple clothes without embarrassment. You can say no to the promotion that would steal your weekends. You can admit you don't understand something without feeling stupid. You can fail at something new without feeling worthless. This freedom is priceless, yet it costs nothing but the willingness to be misunderstood. Epictetus knew this because he lived it. As a slave, he had no external success to speak of. Yet his teachings influenced Roman emperors and continued to shape lives 2 millennia later. He found his superpower not in what others thought of him, but in his complete indifference to their opinions. He discovered that the person who needs nothing from the crowd has everything they need within themselves. When everyone thinks you're a failure, you're finally free to succeed on your own terms. That's not failure. That's the ultimate victory. As Epictetus himself declared, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Your superpower isn't in proving them wrong. It's in not needing to prove anything at all. 2. The secret misery behind every successful person's smile. Let me tell you about Michael Thompson. He won $43 million in the lottery 3 years ago. Today, he's on antidepressants, divorced, and hasn't spoken to his children in months. His mansion feels like a prison. His garage full of luxury cars might as well be a cemetery of broken dreams. When reporters ask him about his win, he calls it the worst thing that ever happened to him. This isn't unique. Studies show that lottery winners return to their baseline happiness within months, often ending up more miserable than before. Yet millions still buy tickets, convinced that external wealth will solve their internal poverty. This phenomenon extends far beyond lottery winners. Walk through any upscale neighborhood in Manhattan or Beverly Hills, and you'll find medicine cabinets full of anxiety medications, therapists booked solid, and divorce lawyers on speed dial. The secret misery behind successful smiles is epidemic. We just don't talk about it because admitting unhappiness while having everything society says should make you happy feels like the ultimate failure. Epictetus understood this paradox perfectly. He observed that external goods, what we chase so desperately, are fundamentally unreliable sources of happiness. He called them weak, slavish, subject to restraint, and in the power of others. Think about that. Everything you're killing yourself to achieve can vanish instantly. Your investment portfolio can crash. Your company can fold. Your reputation can be destroyed by a single scandal. You're building your happiness on quicksand and wondering why you feel unsteady. The science backs up what Epictetus knew intuitively. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. Our tendency to quickly return to baseline happiness despite major positive or negative life changes. That promotion you're sure will make you happy? Within 3 months, it's just your new normal. That dream house? You'll stop noticing its beauty within weeks. That Instagram fame? It becomes a prison of maintaining an image that isn't even real. I spent an evening last month with a group of successful entrepreneurs in San Francisco. From the outside, they had everything: beautiful homes, impressive bank accounts, social media influence. But after a few drinks, the truth emerged. One admitted he hadn't had a good night's sleep in years, constantly worried about maintaining his lifestyle. Another confessed that despite having millions, he felt more anxious about money than when he was broke. A third revealed she was so burned out that she fantasized about faking her own death and starting over somewhere nobody knew her. This is the dirty secret of modern success. It doesn't deliver what it promises. Epictetus put it bluntly: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But we've created a culture that multiplies our wants exponentially. Every achievement just reveals the next mountain to climb. Every possession highlights what we still don't have. Every accolade makes us hungry for more validation. Consider celebrity culture, our society's ultimate success story. These people have everything we're taught to want: fame, fortune, beauty, influence. Yet celebrity rehab centers stay full. Celebrity suicides shock us regularly. Celebrity breakdowns trend on social media. Robin Williams made the world laugh while battling crushing depression. Anthony Bourdain lived what seemed like the perfect life, traveling the world, eating incredible food, beloved by millions. Yet he couldn't find a reason to keep living. If extreme external success guaranteed happiness, these tragedies wouldn't exist. The false promise of external goods goes deeper than just failing to deliver happiness. They actively create misery. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. But we do the opposite. We become slaves to maintaining our success. The executive can't take a real vacation because deals might fall through. The influencer can't post an authentic photo because it might hurt their brand. The wealthy person can't form genuine friendships because everyone wants something from them. I know a surgeon in Chicago who epitomizes this trap. David Chun earns over $1 million annually, drives a Porsche, and lives in a penthouse. He's also prescribed 3 different medications for anxiety, sees his kids every other weekend due to divorce, and recently had a mild heart attack at 45. When I asked him why he didn't slow down, he looked at me like I was insane. I have a lifestyle to maintain, he said. He's so successful he can't afford to be happy. This is what Epictetus meant when he called external pursuits slavish. You become enslaved to maintaining what you've achieved. Your possessions possess you. Your success succeeds in trapping you. You're so busy feeding the beast of external achievement that you starve your soul. The promotion means longer hours. The bigger house means bigger bills. Fame means less privacy. Every external gain comes with hidden costs that nobody mentions in the success seminars. The research on happiness consistently shows that, beyond meeting basic needs, additional wealth and achievement have minimal impact on life satisfaction. Studies from Princeton University found that emotional well-being plateaus at a relatively modest income. Yet we sacrifice everything chasing more, convinced that the next level will finally bring fulfillment. It's like being on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. No matter how fast you run, you never actually get anywhere. Epictetus offered a different path. Seek not the good in external things. Seek it in yourselves. He understood that true contentment comes from internal sources. Peace of mind, a clear conscience, meaningful relationships, and personal growth. These things can't be taken away by market crashes or social media mobs. They don't require constant maintenance or create anxiety about losing them. They're yours regardless of what others think or what happens in the external world. The secret misery behind every successful person's smile is that they've won a game that was rigged from the start. They've achieved everything society told them to want and discovered it's all empty. They're like children who finally get the toy they begged for, only to realize it's not nearly as fun as they imagined. Except, unlike children, they can't admit their disappointment. They have to keep smiling, keep pretending, keep playing a game they've already discovered has no real winners. 3. Why chasing your dreams might be your biggest mistake. Here's a story that might sound familiar. Jennifer Martinez spent 15 years chasing her dream of becoming a Broadway star. She sacrificed everything: relationships, financial security, her health, even her relationship with her family, who begged her to pursue something more stable. She waited tables, lived in a rat-infested studio, and auditioned until her feet bled. At 38, she finally landed a leading role. Opening night, standing ovation, rave reviews. 6 months later, she was in therapy dealing with crippling depression. The dream she'd sacrificed everything for felt hollow. "Is this it?" she asked her therapist. "Is this all there is?" This is the dark truth about dream chasing that nobody wants to discuss. We're told to follow our dreams at any cost, that persistence always pays off, that the sacrifice will be worth it. But Epictetus saw through this delusion over 2,000 years ago. Using the example of Olympic athletes, he painted a stark picture of what pursuing grand achievements actually costs. You must conform to rules, submit to a diet, refrain from dainties, Epictetus warned. Exercise your body whether you choose it or not, at a stated hour, in heat and cold. You must drink no cold water, nor sometimes even wine. In a word, you must give yourself up to your master, as to a physician. Then, in the combat, you may be thrown into a ditch, dislocate your arm, turn your ankle, swallow dust, be whipped, and, after all, lose the victory. Think about that last line, and after all, lose the victory. Even if you sacrifice everything, success isn't guaranteed. And even if you achieve it, the victory might not be what you imagined. This isn't pessimism, it's reality. For every person who achieves their dream and finds fulfillment, hundreds destroy their lives chasing mirages. I witnessed this firsthand in New York's financial district. My colleague Robert dreamed of making partner at his investment firm. For 12 years, he worked 100 hours per week. He missed his daughter's first steps, his son's baseball games, his 20th wedding anniversary. He developed a cocaine habit to maintain the pace. His wife filed for divorce. His kids barely knew him. When he finally made partner at 41, he celebrated alone in his office with a bottle of champagne and a handful of Xanax. The dream had cost him everything that actually mattered. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, put it perfectly: how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. We chase dreams not because they'll make us happy, but because we think achieving them will make others respect us. We want the title, the recognition, what Marcus called a clacking of tongues. But tongues that clack in praise today will clack in criticism tomorrow. Public opinion is as stable as the weather in April. The problem with dream chasing isn't the dream itself. It's what we sacrifice to get there, and the delusion that achieving it will fundamentally change who we are. Epictetus understood that we pursue external achievements because we believe they'll bring internal satisfaction. But that's like trying to cure hunger by looking at pictures of food. The external can never satisfy the internal. Consider the modern entrepreneurship obsession. Everyone wants to be the next tech billionaire. They work 20-hour days, neglect their health, burn through relationships, all for the chance at building the next unicorn startup. but talk to actual successful entrepreneurs and you'll hear a different story. Many admit they were happier before the success. The stress of maintaining a company, managing employees, dealing with investors, it's a nightmare dressed as a dream. I interviewed a startup founder in Seattle who sold his company for $50 million. Everyone congratulates me, he said, but I was happier when it was just me and my laptop in a coffee shop. Now I have golden handcuffs, non-compete clauses, and anxiety attacks. He achieved the dream and discovered it was actually a sophisticated trap. This extends to every field. The doctor who sacrifices her 20s and 30s to medical training only to find herself burned out and disillusioned. The athlete who destroys his body pursuing Olympic gold then spends retirement in chronic pain. The artist who compromises every principle to achieve commercial success then can't look at their own work without disgust. The dream becomes a nightmare, but by then it's too late to wake up. Epictetus offered a different approach. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Instead of chasing grand external dreams, he advocated for internal development. Peace of mind, wisdom, virtue, these can't be taken away by injury, market crashes, or changing tastes. They don't require sacrificing your health, relationships, or integrity. They're available right now, not after years of grinding towards some distant goal. The cost-benefit analysis of dream chasing rarely adds up. You sacrifice present happiness for potential future satisfaction. You trade real relationships for hypothetical achievements. You exchange health for wealth, then spend the wealth trying to buy back health. It's a fool's bargain, but we're so hypnotized by success stories that we ignore the millions of cautionary tales. Think about what you're really chasing. Is it the dream itself, or is it what you think the dream will bring? Status? Security? Self-worth? Love? These things can't be achieved externally. No amount of success can fill an internal void. No achievement can make you feel worthy if you don't already. No external validation can replace self-acceptance. The biggest mistake isn't having dreams. It's believing that achieving them will solve your internal problems. It's sacrificing everything real for something imaginary. It's postponing happiness until you reach some arbitrary milestone, not realizing that happiness is a choice available in this moment. As Epictetus taught, no one can hurt you without your permission. That includes your dreams. Don't let them hurt you by demanding sacrifices that outweigh their rewards. Your dreams might be your biggest mistake if they're costing you your present peace for an uncertain future payoff. If they're destroying your relationships for potential recognition. If they're ruining your health for possible wealth. The question isn't whether to have dreams, but whether your dreams are having you. 4. The ancient secret to happiness that nobody wants to hear. Last week, I met two men in a Boston coffee shop who perfectly illustrate the ancient secret Epictetus discovered. The first was Richard, a millionaire real estate developer, checking 3 phones while gulping his 5th espresso of the day. Dark circles under his eyes, trembling hands, constantly scanning the room like a hunted animal. The second was Carlos, the janitor cleaning nearby tables, humming softly, moving with deliberate calm. When Carlos smiled at a customer, his entire face lit up. When Richard smiled during a business call, it looked like a grimace. Here's what I learned: Carlos reads philosophy during his breaks. He meditates every morning. He has dinner with his family every night. Richard hasn't read a book in years. He takes Ambien to sleep and Adderall to wake up. He can't remember the last time he felt genuine peace. One man has millions in the bank but poverty in his soul. The other has modest means but riches within. Guess which one Epictetus would call successful? The ancient secret is maddeningly simple. Happiness comes from within, not without. It's found in what Epictetus called things in our control, our judgments, desires, opinions, and choices. Everything else, the things not in our control, wealth, fame, health, even life itself are irrelevant to true happiness. This is why nobody wants to hear it. It means all our striving, competing, and accumulating are pointless. It means we've been looking in the wrong place all along. Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves, Epictetus taught. But this requires a complete reversal of everything modern society teaches. We're told happiness comes from achievement, acquisition, and approval. Buy this product. Get this promotion. Win this competition. Attract this partner. Then you'll be happy. It's all lies, and deep down we know it. We've all experienced the emptiness of getting what we wanted and feeling nothing change inside. Consider what actually makes you content in any given moment. It's not your bank balance or job title. It's your state of mind. You could be sitting in a mansion, feeling miserable, or on a park bench, feeling peaceful. The external situation doesn't determine your internal state. Your judgment about the situation does. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." I learned this lesson personally during a period of unemployment 5 years ago. By society's standards, I was failing spectacularly. No income, no prospects, watching my savings dwindle. But something strange happened. Without the constant stress of corporate life, I started sleeping better. I had time to read, think, and walk in nature. I reconnected with old friends. I discovered that my worth wasn't tied to my productivity. Those 6 months of being a loser were among the happiest of my life. The Stoics identified specific internal qualities that constitute genuine happiness: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Notice what's not on that list: money, fame, power, or Instagram followers. These virtues are completely within your control. You can choose to act wisely regardless of your circumstances. You can be just whether you're rich or poor. You can show courage in a boardroom or on a breadline. You can practice self-discipline with millions or pennies. But here's why this secret is so hard to accept. It means taking complete responsibility for your happiness. You can't blame your misery on your circumstances, your past, or other people. If happiness comes from within, then unhappiness does too. This is simultaneously terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because you can't play victim anymore. Liberating because it means happiness is always available regardless of external conditions. Epictetus lived this truth. As a slave, he had every reason to be miserable. No freedom, no possessions, no status. Yet he found profound contentment through philosophy. He discovered that true freedom isn't physical but mental. No one can hurt you without your permission, he declared. Even in chains, his mind was free. Even in poverty, his spirit was rich. His master could control his body but not his thoughts, reactions, or inner peace. Modern psychology is finally catching up to what the Stoics knew centuries ago. Studies on happiness consistently show that after basic needs are met, external factors have minimal impact on life satisfaction. Lottery winners and accident victims return to similar happiness levels within a year. People in poor countries report life satisfaction similar to those in wealthy nations. The correlation between external success and internal happiness is shockingly weak. Yet we resist this truth with every fiber of our being. We want to believe that the next achievement, purchase, or relationship will finally make us happy. It's easier than doing the hard work of internal development. It's more exciting than the quiet cultivation of virtue. It's more Instagram-worthy than the invisible practice of wisdom. But it's also a guaranteed path to disappointment. The practical application of this secret is revolutionary. Instead of asking, "How can I get more?" ask, "How can I want less?" Instead of seeking approval, seek integrity. Instead of chasing pleasure, cultivate peace. Instead of accumulating possessions, develop character. This isn't about becoming passive or giving up on life. It's about focusing your energy on what actually matters and what you can actually control. I know a teacher in Philadelphia who embodies this philosophy. Sarah makes $40,000 a year, drives a 15-year-old Honda, and lives in a small apartment. By conventional standards, she's unsuccessful. But she loves her work, has deep friendships, practices gratitude daily, and sleeps peacefully every night. She's mastered what Epictetus called the discipline of desire, wanting what you have rather than having what you want. The ancient secret to happiness that nobody wants to hear is that you already have everything you need to be happy. Right now. In this moment. Without changing anything external. The contentment you seek isn't in tomorrow's achievement but in today's acceptance. The peace you crave isn't in external validation but in internal alignment. The joy you pursue isn't out there somewhere, it's within you, waiting to be recognized. This is why The Secret remains unpopular after 2,000 years. It offers no quick fixes, no shopping solutions, no external saviors. Just the challenging, rewarding work of changing your mind rather than your circumstances. As Epictetus promised, no one who is in a state of fear or sorrow or tension is free, but whoever is delivered from sorrows and fears and anxieties, he is at the same time also delivered from servitude. 5. How society brainwashes you into wanting a terrible life. Imagine you're an alien visiting Earth, observing human behavior in any major American city. You'd witness something bizarre, millions of people voluntarily making themselves miserable while believing they're pursuing happiness. They wake up exhausted, drug themselves with caffeine, sit in traffic for hours, work jobs they hate, buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like, then medicate themselves to sleep and repeat. If you asked them why, they'd say they're building a good life. The alien would be baffled. This looks nothing like a good life. It looks like sophisticated torture. This is the power of societal brainwashing. We've been programmed since birth to want things that actively harm our well-being. Epictetus recognized this mass delusion over 2 millennia ago. He observed that people pursue what everyone else pursues, not because it brings happiness, but because everyone else is doing it. We're sheep following sheep, and nobody questions whether we're heading toward green pastures or off a cliff. The programming starts early. Children naturally value play, creativity, and connection. But we systematically train these instincts out of them. Sit still. Compete for grades. Define your worth by external achievements. By adulthood, we've created humans who can't relax without feeling guilty, can't enjoy simple pleasures without photographing them, and can't feel valuable without constant productivity. We've turned natural humans into anxious machines. Consider how we've been conditioned to view success. A successful person works 60-hour weeks, right? They're always busy, always stressed, always climbing. They sacrifice health for wealth, relationships for promotions, peace for productivity. We call this success, but what exactly is successful about living in constant anxiety? What's successful about needing pills to function? What's successful about being too busy to enjoy the life you're supposedly building? Epictetus saw through this conditioning. He distinguished between what things actually are and how society teaches us to see them. What disturbs people's minds is not events but their judgments on events, he taught. Society has taught us to judge a luxury car as success, a small apartment as failure. But these are just metal and walls. The judgments we attach to them are manufactured by a culture that profits from our dissatisfaction. The brainwashing is everywhere. Advertisements tell us we're incomplete without their products. Social media shows us curated lives that make our reality seem pathetic. News media keep us in constant fear and outrage. Entertainment glorifies wealth and fame while mocking simplicity and contentment. We're marinating in messages that make us hate our lives and chase mirages. And it's working perfectly for everyone except us. I saw this clearly at a dinner party in Los Angeles last month. Everyone was professionally successful, lawyers, doctors, and entrepreneurs. But the entire conversation was complaints. Work stress, relationship problems, health issues, and anxiety about maintaining their lifestyles. Then someone mentioned their housekeeper, Maria, who always seemed happy. Must be nice to have simple problems, someone said dismissively. But Maria doesn't have simple problems, she has a simple perspective. She hasn't been brainwashed into believing she needs a Tesla to be valuable. The mechanism of this brainwashing is brilliant in its simplicity. First, create a problem that doesn't exist. You're not enough as you are. Then sell the solution, buy, achieve, or become this, and then you'll be enough. But the solution never works because the problem was fabricated. So you need the next solution and the next, trapped in an endless cycle of chasing external validation for an internal wound that external things can never heal. Epictetus understood that we become slaves to whatever we believe we need. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, he said. But society is designed to multiply our wants infinitely. Every satisfied desire reveals 10 new ones. Every achievement highlights what we haven't achieved. Every purchase shows us what we can't afford. We're programmed to always want more, ensuring we'll never have enough. The social proof element is particularly insidious. We see everyone else playing the game, so we assume it must be worth playing. We see everyone else stressed and anxious, so we assume that's normal. We see everyone else sacrificing their health for success, so we do the same. Epictetus called this the behavior of the mob, blindly following collective delusions rather than thinking for ourselves. Think about the keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon. Your neighbor gets a pool and suddenly your yard seems inadequate. Your coworker gets promoted and suddenly your job feels like a failure. Your friend posts vacation photos and suddenly your life seems boring. None of your actual circumstances changed, but society has programmed you to measure your worth relatively, ensuring perpetual dissatisfaction. You're not living your life, you're performing in a competition you never signed up for. The most tragic part is that we know it's making us miserable. Survey after survey shows that despite unprecedented wealth and comfort, people are more anxious, depressed, and dissatisfied than ever. We have everything previous generations dreamed of, yet we're desperately unhappy. That's because we've been brainwashed into wanting the wrong things, valuing the wrong metrics, and living by the wrong scorecard. Breaking free from this brainwashing requires what Epictetus called philosophical thinking, examining your beliefs and desires to determine which are truly yours and which were programmed into you. Ask yourself, do I actually want this promotion, or do I want the approval it represents? Do I actually enjoy this lifestyle, or am I maintaining it because it's expected? Do I actually value these things, or have I been taught to value them? The answers might shock you. You might discover that most of your desires aren't even yours. They're societal implants, cultural programming, inherited expectations. You're living someone else's definition of a good life and wondering why it feels so bad. As Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself. Society has brainwashed you into wanting a life of chronic stress, constant comparison, and perpetual dissatisfaction. It's convinced you that peace is laziness, simplicity is failure, and contentment is complacency. It's programmed you to chase external validation while neglecting internal development. It's taught you to value everything except what actually matters. Recognizing this brainwashing is the first step to freedom. The question is, are you ready to wake up? 6. The life-changing magic of having nothing to lose. 3 years ago, Marcus Williams was a six-figure marketing executive in Seattle with a mortgage, 2 car payments, and a lifestyle that demanded every penny he earned. Then came the diagnosis, stage 3 cancer. Suddenly, none of it mattered. The BMW, the waterfront condo, the designer suits, all meaningless. During treatment, he made a radical decision. He sold everything, paid off his debts, and moved into a converted van. Today, cancer-free, he travels the country teaching meditation. Cancer taught me the freedom of having nothing to lose, he tells me. When you're willing to lose everything, you become unconquerable. This is what Epictetus understood at the deepest level. True freedom doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. When you have nothing you're afraid to lose, you have everything you need to be free. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, he taught. But this isn't about deprivation or poverty. It's about liberation from the fear that controls most people's lives. Think about what enslaves you. It's not your boss, your bills, or your circumstances. It's your attachment to them. Every single thing you're unwilling to lose has power over you. Your expensive car? You're enslaved to its payments and paranoid about scratches. Your reputation? You're enslaved to others' opinions and terrified of criticism. Your comfort? You're enslaved to security and paralyzed by risk. The more you have to lose, the more afraid you become. I witnessed this transformation firsthand with my friend Sarah in Chicago. After her tech startup failed spectacularly, she lost everything. Savings, apartment, even most of her friends who were only interested in her success. Rock bottom became her foundation. With nothing left to protect, she started a blog about failure and resilience. Without the fear of losing a cushy job, she wrote honestly. Without worrying about her image, she shared vulnerably. That blog now reaches millions and supports her modestly. Losing everything was the best thing that happened to me, she says. It showed me I had nothing to fear. Epictetus lived this philosophy literally. As a slave, he owned nothing, controlled nothing, had no external security whatsoever. Yet he found profound freedom in this condition. No one can hurt you without your permission, he declared. When you truly have nothing to lose, what power does anyone have over you? Threaten to fire someone with nothing to lose, and they shrug. Threaten to criticize them, and they're unmoved. Threaten to take their possessions, and they help you pack. This principle extends beyond material possessions. We cling to identities, beliefs, and self-images with desperate intensity. The executive who can't imagine being anything else. The parent whose entire worth is tied to their children's success. The athlete who doesn't know who they are without their sport. These attachments become prisons. When you're willing to lose even your cherished identity, you discover who you really are beneath all the labels. Consider the minimalist movement sweeping through American cities. People are discovering that owning less brings more freedom. Take James Becker in Portland, who sold his 4-bedroom house and now lives in a 400-square-foot apartment. I used to spend weekends maintaining stuff I didn't even use, he explains. Now I spend them living. I can move anywhere, try anything, without being anchored by possessions. Having less to lose gave me more to gain. But the magic goes deeper than just material simplicity. When you have nothing to lose, you can speak the truth without fear of consequences. You can pursue meaning over money. You can choose authenticity over approval. You can take risks that terrify those clinging to security. You become psychologically invincible because there's no leverage anyone can use against you. Epictetus emphasized this repeatedly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. When you're willing to be seen as a fool, criticism loses its sting. When you're willing to be poor, job loss loses its terror. When you're willing to be alone, rejection loses its power. Every willingness to lose something transforms it from a weakness into a strength. I experienced this during a corporate whistleblowing situation 5 years ago. Reporting my company's illegal practices meant certain termination and probable blacklisting. But I'd been practicing Stoic principles, gradually reducing my lifestyle needs and attachment to career identity. When the moment came, I had little to lose and everything to gain, namely, my integrity. The freedom to do the right thing without fear was intoxicating. Yes, I lost the job, but I gained something priceless. The knowledge that I could survive anything. The fear of loss paralyzes most people into lives of quiet desperation. They stay in abusive relationships because they fear being alone. They remain in soul-crushing jobs because they fear poverty. They maintain false friendships because they fear rejection. They're so busy protecting what they have that they never discover what they could become. As Epictetus observed, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. This doesn't mean being reckless or nihilistic. It means holding everything lightly. Enjoy your possessions without being possessed by them. Appreciate your relationships without being dependent on them. Value your achievements without deriving your worth from them. When you can walk away from anything, you're free to truly choose everything. You stay in relationships because you want to, not because you need to. You work because it's meaningful, not because you're trapped. The practical application is transformative. Start small. Sell something you've been protecting. Give away something you've been hoarding. Risk a rejection you've been avoiding. Say the truth you've been suppressing. Each act of voluntary loss builds your freedom muscle. You discover that losing things isn't the catastrophe you imagined. Often it's a relief. A venture capitalist in San Francisco told me something profound. The entrepreneurs who succeed aren't the ones with everything to gain. They're the ones with nothing to lose. They can pivot, adapt, and risk in ways that those protecting existing success cannot. This applies to life, not just business. When you have nothing to lose, you have infinite possibility. Epictetus promised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The life-changing magic of having nothing to lose is that it reveals what you truly have. Freedom, peace, authenticity, and the ability to live according to your values rather than your fears. When you're willing to be a loser by society's standards, you win the only game that matters, the game of living freely. 7. The hidden price tag on your perfect life. Let me show you 2 price tags that nobody talks about. The first belongs to Jennifer Chin, a pharmaceutical executive in Boston. Her perfect life costs her 2 Xanax every morning to face the day, 3 glasses of wine every night to wind down, a marriage counselor every week to save her relationship, a personal trainer to combat stress weight, a therapist for her anxiety, and sleeping pills for her insomnia. Her 6-figure salary barely covers the cost of maintaining the success that's killing her. The second price tag belongs to Miguel Rodriguez, who teaches guitar from his small apartment in Brooklyn. His simple life costs him the sneers of his business school classmates, his parents' disappointment, dates who ghost him after learning his profession, and the constant reminder that he's not living up to his potential. But he sleeps naturally, laughs easily, and hasn't seen a doctor for stress-related illness in years. Epictetus understood what most miss. Everything has a price, but we only see one side of the transaction. He distinguished between two paths, the way of the philosopher and the way of the vulgar. Be either a philosopher or one of the vulgar, he stated bluntly. Both exact their toll, but only one price is worth paying. The vulgar path, chasing external success, seems attractive because society advertises its rewards while hiding its costs. Nobody posts Instagram photos of their anxiety attacks. LinkedIn doesn't show the divorced executive eating cereal alone at midnight. The news doesn't cover the successful lawyer's kid who says, "I wish dad loved me as much as his job." We see the shiny surface but not the dark foundation. Here's what the perfect life actually costs: your health sacrificed on the altar of productivity, your relationships neglected for networking, your peace traded for perpetual stress, your authenticity buried under professional personas. Your time, the only currency you can't earn back, is spent on things that won't matter on your deathbed. The price is everything that makes life worth living, paid for achievements that become meaningless the moment you attain them. I learned this while managing a hedge fund in Manhattan. My perfect life included a Central Park view and a Porsche in the garage. The hidden costs? Chronic back pain from stress. A cocaine habit to maintain the pace. 2 failed relationships with women who felt like they were dating my job. Panic attacks in bathroom stalls. Sunday scaries that started Friday afternoon. When I calculated the real price, I was paying $1 million a year to be miserable. Epictetus warned about this exact trap. If you want to improve, reject such reasonings as these. If I neglect my affairs, I'll have no income. If I don't correct my servant, he will be bad. For it is better to die with hunger, exempt from grief and fear, than to live in affluence with perturbation. He understood that we pay for external success with internal poverty, trading our souls for symbols. The philosopher's path has its own price tag, and Epictetus didn't sugarcoat it. You'll have to forego your ease, work hard, leave people behind, be despised by menials, be laughed at, and get crumbs at best when it comes to recognition and position. You pay in social currency, respect, admiration, and belonging. You become the weirdo who chose meaning over money, the fool who values peace over profit. But examine this price carefully. Being laughed at costs you nothing real. Being despised by those who value the wrong things is a badge of honor. Missing out on positions that would enslave you is a blessing. The philosopher's price is paid in counterfeit currency, the opinions of people whose opinions shouldn't matter. You're trading worthless paper for golden freedom. Consider my friend David in Denver, who left his law firm to become a park ranger. His law school friends stage interventions. His dating profiles get fewer matches. His parents introduce him as our son who's finding himself. But David wakes up excited about his day. He's present with his daughter. He reads philosophy by campfires instead of contracts by fluorescent lights. The price of being seen as a failure purchased his actual success. The hidden truth is that everyone pays a price. The only choice is which currency you use. The executive pays with her health. The philosopher pays with his reputation. The social climber pays with authenticity. The authentic person pays with social status. The workaholic pays with relationships. The family man pays with career advancement. There's no free lunch in life, only different checks to pick up. Modern society has rigged the game by hiding the true costs of conventional success. We glamorize the entrepreneur working 100-hour weeks but don't show his empty apartment. We celebrate the executive's promotion but not her daughter's tears. We envy the influencer's lifestyle but not their existential crisis. It's false advertising on a massive scale, selling a product that costs more than it's worth. Epictetus offered a simple cost-benefit analysis. Consider these costs and see if you're willing to pay them to gain peace, freedom, and tranquility. Notice what he's selling: not wealth, fame, or power, but peace, freedom, and tranquility. These aren't sexy products. They don't photograph well. They won't impress at reunions. But they're the only things that matter when you're alone with yourself at 3 a.m. The real question isn't whether you'll pay a price. You will, regardless. The question is whether you'll pay consciously or unconsciously, wisely or foolishly, for something real or something illusory. Will you pay with your peace for others' approval? With your health for societal success? With your authenticity for artificial acceptance? Or will you pay the smaller price of their judgment for the priceless reward of your freedom? I made my choice 5 years ago, leaving finance for teaching. Yes, I paid the price. Former colleagues pity me. My apartment is smaller. My car is older. But I also stopped paying the hidden costs. No more anxiety medication. No more Sunday dread. No more feeling like a fraud in my own life. The philosopher's price bought me something the vulgar path never could: the ability to look in the mirror and like who I see. As Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When you reduce your wants, you reduce your costs. When you stop needing external validation, you stop paying for it with your soul. When you choose the philosopher's path, you pay once with social currency and receive dividends of peace forever. The perfect life's hidden price tag is everything that matters. The simple life's visible price is everything that doesn't. Why the real winners look like losers and vice versa. Here's the ultimate paradox that would make Epictetus smile: the people society calls losers are often life's biggest winners, while those we celebrate as winners are frequently losing at the only game that matters: the game of inner peace and authentic happiness. Think about everyone we've discussed. Amanda, who left Silicon Valley to teach high school math, society's loser, life's winner. The lottery winner on antidepressants, society's winner, life's loser. The janitor reading philosophy, overlooked by the world, rich in wisdom. The stressed executive popping pills, envied by many, enslaved by everything. The truth is beautifully ironic. By being willing to look like a loser, you win freedom from society's exhausting expectations. By accepting their judgment, you escape their control. By choosing their contempt over their approval, you choose your peace over their chaos. As Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The real winner needs nothing from the crowd that calls them a loser. This isn't about giving up or checking out. It's about checking in with what truly matters. It's about winning at life rather than winning at society's rigged game. It's about recognizing that the person who sleeps peacefully in a small apartment has achieved more than the insomniac in the mansion. The one who works with joy has succeeded more than the one who succeeds with misery. Your willingness to be seen as a loser is your secret weapon because it frees you to live authentically. You can choose work that matters over work that pays. You can value time over money. You can prioritize peace over prestige. You can be real rather than impressive. These choices look like losing to those trapped in the matrix of social conditioning, but they're the choices of true winners. The real winners look like losers because they've opted out of competitions that don't matter. They've stopped running races that lead nowhere. They've quit playing games where even winning means losing. They appear to be failing because they're not even trying to succeed at things that guarantee misery. Their failure is actually wisdom in disguise. And the real losers? They're winning all the wrong games. They're first place in the race to burnout. Champions of anxiety. Gold medalists in the competition for external validation. They're so busy winning at society's metrics that they're losing at life's meaning. Their success is actually failure dressed in designer clothes. So be a loser if need be. Be the person who chooses peace over profit. Be the weirdo who values wisdom over wealth. Be the fool who picks presents over productivity. Be the failure who succeeds at what matters. Your loser status isn't a weakness, it's your strength. It's your freedom. It's your path to unconquerable joy. If this message resonates with you, if you're ready to embrace the power of being a loser and discover true freedom, then join our community at Stoic Vivu. Subscribe to our channel for more life-changing Stoic wisdom that challenges everything society tells you about success. Hit that like button if you're ready to win by their definition of losing. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that their failure might actually be their secret victory. Remember, the real winners often look like losers, and that's exactly why they're free.